Okay, so on to the next track in Sonia's Harmonic Rabbit Hole, man. This one over here is Feng Wang, Beijing, Beijing. For those of you who are only jumping on now, there is a Dimash reaction if you are a Dimash fan. We've reacted to that when that was the start of the series. This one I've never heard of before. I think I've heard of this artist before, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't think I've ever heard of Beijing, Beijing. There is a message over here that says, Feng Wang is a Chinese rock musician and composer. He has released 20 albums and has collaborated on projects with several international artists, Avril, Lavigne and David Foster. The song encapsulates city life in China and the small things that make China so endearing. English subtitles have been provided. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so I've never reacted to that. But yeah, let's rock and roll. Let's see what we've got over here. And for those of you who are interested in the custom series product, I'm leaving the link down in the pinned comments. I've actually changed the custom series a bit, right? It's actually at a much more reduced price, but there's also 10 reactions. We're doing 10 reactions. The reason I'm doing that is because I would like to do series that we can literally complete in a single day, as opposed to it rolling over 2 days. So just letting you guys know that. There's no particular order, just side note, I know I'm jumping around over here. There's no particular order to the reaction that I'm doing over here. Just the actual list has gotten scrambled a little bit for me. But I do know some of them actually have to be together. Don't worry, Sonia, I know that. I'm just saying with these particular ones, I'm just scrambling. I don't think they'll make much of a difference. But let's rock and roll, man. So Beijing, Beijing, Feng Wang. Let's see. That's a famous Chinese rock song. Let's go. Sounds a bit jazzy over here.
当我走在这里的每一条街道，我的心似乎从来都不能平静。除了发动机的轰鸣和电气指引，我似乎听到了它烛骨般的心跳。
I love that analogy there. I can actually feel this over here. It seems like I can hear the city's heartbeats. That city's always beating, and I can feel its aching bones, which kind of like is alluding to the fact that it's ancient, right? There's history there, right? It goes a long way back. So this city is almost like being compared to an old man with its aching bones, right? It's got its aching, it's got its sores and pains every like here and there, but it's part and parcel of its sort of heritage, okay?
它烛骨般的心跳，我在这里欢笑，我在这里哭泣，我在这里活着，也在这死去。我在这里祈祷，我在这里迷惘，我在这里寻找，在这里失去。北京，北京，咖啡馆与广场有3个街区，就像霓虹灯和月亮的距离。
Beautiful words, yeah.
人们在挣扎中相互告慰和。
Love that people here comfort and embrace each other in the times of struggle. But prior to that, what he actually said over there is, you know, he says, you know, I live here, I pray here, I will die here, I lose here, I love here, like that kind of thing. It's like, it's kind of how everybody feels about this, the place that they're currently in. Right, And it's regardless of the place that you're in, you're always going to find like, you're going to have those days where you wake up and it's like, I can't fucking stand this place. I can't stand the city. I can't stand all of this hustle, but I can't stand any of this shit. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that's home. You are entrenched home. Even if you leave and you go elsewhere, you still feel like you're missing home. That's where you've lived your entire life. That's basically how I feel about Johannesburg and South Africa. All right? And I just sometimes look at the city and I'm like, I fucking just can't stand. The city's just gone to shit. I can't stand the city, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, like every time I leave the city, I yearn for the city. You know what I mean? It really is. It's like all of a sudden, something about that city is kind of very much entrenched in your heart because you've lived your life in the city. You understand the city. I know every single nook and cranny of this city, right? I know how to navigate this city. I know all of the back streets. I know all of the great places. I know all of the great people in the different retail stores. We've got a bit of like, you know what I mean? You start getting a little bit of a sphere and an atmosphere. It becomes tribal to a certain degree. Like this city, my tribe lives in the city. You know what I mean? And you can completely understand that, man. And the thing is that when we go through hard times, people like come together and help each other out. Right? You really do have that connection to the city and its people. And regardless of the political bullshit, everybody understands that politics is dirty. Everybody understands that it's the politicians that are screwing everything up. But down here at the grassroots level in my city, it's a beautiful city, man. It's a beautiful city for me for many factors. There are many factors that don't make it beautiful, but there are many factors that do make it beautiful. And I think that's how everybody feels about, their home, essentially.
人们在挣扎中相互告慰和拥抱，寻找着、追逐着奄奄一息的碎梦。我们在这欢笑，我们在这哭泣，我们在这活着，也在这死去。我们在这祈祷，我们在这迷惘，我们在这寻找，也在这失去。北京，北京。
If someday I have to leave this world, I will only hope that I can be buried here, all right? And not buried here because for political reasons or nothing. It's because of community reasons. It's community. It's his community, right? It's the people he loves. It's those small intricacies in your community that make you love the place. You know, it's that coffee shop around the corner that you go to every single day and you have conversations with the barista or whatever it is. It's the food market that you go to and you it's everything. Everything's got such a nostalgic element to it that it just makes you feel like home. And there are elements that are going to anger you about that, but it always feels like when you remove yourself out of that, it feels like you're removing a puzzle piece out of what makes that city whole, which is yourself or somebody else and things like that. That's why also when someone's so involved in the community in that place that you stay and they land up dying, it feels like a piece of that puzzle is now missing because that piece of that puzzle made up the whole picture, as do you in your city. Do you know what I mean? Which I think is it's beautiful. I completely understand the sentiment here.
把我埋在这里，在这儿我能感觉到我的存在，在这儿有太多让我 的东西。我在这里幻想，我在这里哭泣，我在这里活着，也在这死去。我在这里祈祷，我在这里迷惘，我在这里寻找，也在这失去。北京，北京，北京，北京。
You know, it's crazy to think, actually, when I think about this, and I think about this very often, is that I think us in the West don't really take the time to understand other people and other people's cultures. You know, we always look at it from afar. We always look at it from, you know, what's plastered in the media headlines and things like that. And I don't think people fully understand in the West that other people in other countries don't find our way of life as appealing as we find. As appealing as we find it, right? You know, we look at certain things that happen in other countries and say, oh no, shame, poor them. And they look back and say, what are you saying? Shame, poor what? Like, I don't understand what you're saying. Like, we actually love our country. Like, we love our country, we love our city. Yes, our political system might be a lot more rigid than yours is, but we're happy here. Like, we're okay here. Like, I don't know why. You know, because we tend to look at it from a very, very liberal, progressive end, where we think that everybody wants the latest iPhone, and everybody wants the latest washing machine, and everybody wants the nicest car, and everybody wants the nicest house, and things like that. And people in other countries are like, yeah, we're not interested in any of that. Like, we're not interested in any of that. We're actually more interested in community. We're more interested in religion. We're more interested in conservatism, in preserving what we have. We're more interested in old traditional ideals. And it's something that we've gotten so arrogant on this side of the world, and so arrogant on the Western side of the world, that if somebody doesn't share that same notion, someone doesn't share those same doctrines and beliefs, right? We like castigate them. Like we so what? Like, are you joking? It's like, obviously you're not allowed to speak your mind, and obviously it's like, no. And people are like, we don't care for your lifestyle. We're happy with our own lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? And I find that ridiculous because, you know, we tend to be so tolerant, right? So tolerant in the West. And we keep on going on about colonialism and how terrible colonialism was, which it was. But then we go and engage in ideological colonialism, where if other people say, well, we don't want your ideology, we don't want your indoctrination, we don't want that in our country. We have different beliefs, we have different ideals. Do you know what I mean? They seen as backwards and all that kind of thing. It's like, yes, that's ideological colonialism. Stop trying to impose your ideals on other people who don't want them. They don't want them. They have their own culture. They have their own way of life. We don't want your ideals. We don't want your ideology. Do you know what I mean? And those people will sit there and say that, but we've become ever more ignorant and intolerant without even realizing that we're completely intolerant. Without even realizing that the center point of the entire world is not the Western world. right? It may be politically, there might be a global hegemony right now that's being run by the United States, which is absolutely fine. But there are other people on outside of there, there are other power centers and other spheres on the outside of that that have their own interests and have their own way of life and things like that are not interested in the Western way of life. You know what I mean? They just don't want it. They don't want that kind of thing. But yet we go and impose our ideological colonialism on other people. As we're doing the exact same thing, but ideologically, we are no better than, you know, the Westerners of old that literally try to imperialize the world. Do you know what I mean? And I think we really, really need to take a hard look at ourselves and step back a little bit and realize that it's okay for other people to just be other people. You know, it's okay for other systems to exist that just don't coincide with ours. Like, you do you and I do me. Like, you know, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and when in China, do as the Chinese do. That's kind of thing. If they're not happy enough, like if they're not happy with it, they'll eventually rise up themselves. Civilizations will do that. They'll rise up themselves and they will deal with it themselves. Trust me, there's more than enough people in China to do that. You know what I mean? For us to act like we care enough about them to fight their war for them, right, to fight their battles for them is unbelievably obtuse on our end. That's just my particular viewpoints on that. But anyway. Beautiful song. Really like that actually. Very cool, very, very chilled song, and I love the premise of the song, right? Yes, we have our good, yes, we have our bad, but I will die here because I love my city, I love my country, I love my people, and I feel connected to it regardless of our struggles. You know what I mean? This is me, this is my community, I'm part of this. Love it. Absolutely fantastic. You guys let me know what you think down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!